international, the minute you get off that plane, you go somewhere, you're out of your comfort zone. Unless you grew up there by chance or frequented it when you were growing up. The language is different. The smells are different. The food is different. If someone tells me that's not out of their comfort zone initially, then I think that's exceptional, because for most people, it certainly is. And then pick up your whole life and go, and then reset your life there in that new location.
So it's a piggyback on that, how do people change, grow, and transform after going on these excursions?
I think it's hard. I think for most people it is hard. They go through a lot of different phases. There's the excitement, my goodness, it's going to be wonderful. We're going to see the world. We're going to do all of these things. And then that feeling wears off. Trust me, it wears off, and the everyday sets in of the reality of, I might not understand. Why do they do it like this here? The day-to-day, going to the stores is very different than perhaps you don't have your favorite foods anymore. Your friend group is gone. You don't see your family like you used to see them, or you're only getting home now once a year. It becomes so challenging to adapt, and you have to fight through the negatives, those negative feelings. You come home after the day and I just miss home. The tears might come. They will come likely. Then you have other family members who maybe don't adapt well. The kids, maybe they're not getting on well in school. It's a life-changing event, no question about it. But I think if someone can get through it, if that employee, that family, those children can get through that initial months, year or so, I think most people will say it's probably the most amazing thing that they've ever done in their life.
Yeah.
One of the most amazing. Yeah. There are other really amazing things, but it's a life-altering event, and it often puts people on different trajectories as well, and what they want to do, experience, and grow.
Walk me through, as a transferee, what should I be concerned with?
Yeah. So first thing, I'd talk professionally. So if you're company, we're saying, okay, Zach, you need to go to Geneva. I'd be asking myself, why am I being sent, especially on a short-term assignment? Because those short-term assignments traditionally are meant for knowledge transfer. So you have some specific skills, knowledge that you need to be there to help train the individuals locally for that. Or we're going to say, that great opportunity, we see you as an up-and-coming leader globally in our organization. We want to put you there for a bit, get your feet wet for a period of time, and learn that area of the business there in Geneva. So that's professionally, especially short-term assignments where that focus tends to lie.
So this is the mission.
This is the mission. What are we going to do professionally? Now, short-term assignments, you're going to go by yourself typically. You got to leave everybody behind. Just keep that in mind. So then I'm going to say, okay, you go by yourself. Do you speak French?
No.
No. Okay, so language. But Geneva's a pretty international city, so you're probably going to be okay to get around speaking English. But do you want to integrate? So do we need to look at, how are you going to do personally? Have you ever traveled Europe much?
Not yet.
Yep. So being still a, quote, Western country, still very different from the United States.
I have seen a lot of European films.
And I'm sure they look great, because everybody loves going on vacation to Europe. But if we're going to send you for a short-term assignment, I'm going to say we're going to send you for a year. It's going to be challenging. It's going to be very different. You're going to understand locally that people aren't necessarily as friendly as they are here. The store hours, that day-to-day living, especially if you're on your own, when you're used to maybe having more support at home, it's going to get harder. You're going to have to find ways to adapt. Finding housing, well, that's probably going to be smaller than what you're used to be living in here. The furnishings are going to be different. Oh, goodness. Well, streaming is a thing now, so you could probably get a lot of your programs now in English. But, before all of that, your comforts of your favorite television shows, or what you could go, that you don't have that anymore. And even with streaming services and such, there's still blocks on what you can access in different countries as well.
What would be big for me is family back home. How do you just leave your family like that?
Well, and that's the other piece. Will you go back home every few months to visit them? Will your work even allow that? If you're busy, depending on what that mission is and those objectives, do you even have time to basically spend a day traveling to get home, to stay a few days, to turn around and get back? Or will your family come visit you? Do they have time? They're busy with their lives. If you have small children, that's always a bit of an adjustment to be going those distances. And you've got just the practicalities of jet lag to figure out when you're trying to go back and forth.